Hi everyone, so welcome to part 2 of my color highlight series, and the color that we'll be going over today is Phthalo Turquoise, which can either be made by combining a phthalo blue pigment with a phthalo green pigment, or by using the PB16 pigment, which is metal-free phthalocyanide. So like the previous video, what I'll be doing first is swatching the color that I have and describing what it looks like. And the Phthalo Turquoise that I'm using is a 2-pigment mixture from M-Gram. And what we initially see in the mass tone is that it's really deep, like other phthalo pigments. And then as we dilute it, we get this really nice turquoise hue. And I'd say this is really close to an ideal cyan hue used for color mixing.
And you can see we get a nice value range from like a deep dark turquoise to something that gets lighter over time.
So now that I've swatched my Phthalo Turquoise color, I am now going to do a dispersion test to see how it disperses. And in this case, it disperses pretty well, and it dispersed more than the phthalo green in the last video, which could be because I used more water or the color just disperses better. As Phthalo Turquoise is a mixture of a phthalo blue and a phthalo green, I would like to now swatch and compare phthalo blue green shade and phthalo green blue shade to Phthalo Turquoise. And with this phthalo blue swatch, we can see that it leans more towards blue compared to the Phthalo Turquoise. And this sometimes can be helpful if you want to mix brighter purple colors.
And just like and this is a nice, like, sky turquoisey color, PB15.
So now what I'll be doing is swatching my phthalo green blue shade and comparing it to the other pigments. And from what we can see is that PG7 has a greenish cast compared to the other turquoises. And this can be useful for neutralizing crimsons or also making brighter greens, as colors closer to each other tend to make less neutralized mixes.
So now this is what a side-by-side comparison looks like for all these tealish colors.
After swatching the 3 phthalo colors, I want to show you a PB16. I don't have a tube of it, but I have a Schmincke dot card, and they have a PB16 called Phthalo Turquoise, and it is a really nice, beautiful turquoise hue, and I think it's a good choice if you want an ideal cyan or turquoise color in terms of hue. And from other brands, Winsor, Newton, and Da Vinci have one. And then Daniel Smith calls theirs Phthalo Blue Turquoise.
Single pigment version's less common, I would assume, but there are brands that have it, including Schmincke, Daniel Smith, Winsor, Newton, and Da Vinci. So now that I've
done the swatching,
The last thing I'd like to do is mix my Phthalo Turquoise with a few different pigments that I have on my palette, which are Lemon Yellow, Quinacridone Magenta, Dioxazine Purple, Cadmium Red Light Hue, and Yellow Ochre. So the first color that I'm mixing Phthalo Turquoise with is Lemon Yellow or Hansa Yellow Light, which is made with PY3.
So the first mix that I have
So
is
when
a
I mix these two colors together, we get these nice vibrant greens. So at least Phthalo Turquoise is a good cyan in terms of mixing bright
And
greens.
as I continue to mix more yellow into this, I continue to get other nice green and lime colors. So now that I've mixed with lemon yellow, I'll be moving on to our next color, which is Quinacridone Magenta, which is made with Pigment Red 122.
The next color that I'd like to mix Phthalo Turquoise with is Quinacridone Magenta, which is made with PR122. And this tends to be one of the common choices for a mixing magenta.
So I'm going to add a smidge of magenta, and when we first mix
And the
these colors
first
together, we
mix
get a
that we
nice
get is a nice deep blue color.
And now what we have is like a nice, like, near violet color, I would say. Something close to like the violet that's
And as we add more magenta, we start to get these
in
nice
RGB.
violet and purple hues. So I'd say that Phthalo Turquoise works pretty well as a cyan or turquoise hue for a limited CMY palette.
So then we have this near purple color here. And now this is a nice bright purple tone. And just to dilute it further, just to see what it looks like as a more lavenderish color. So we can see that it makes like nice blue, violet, and purple tones. And the next color I'll be looking at is Dioxazine Purple, which is made with
So the next color I'd like to mix Phthalo Turquoise with is Dioxazine Purple, which is made with PB23. And I think this might be the most commonly used purple on palettes.
So when I mix these two together, we get, this is the first
And
blue
as I mix
color that I get.
Dioxazine Purple with Phthalo Turquoise, we get a nice blue color. And as I continue to add more purple, I get really nice violet hues too. So Phthalo Turquoise is a good way to mix nice violets and blues with magentas and purples. Again, making it a nice choice for a CMY palette.
And then just to mix a little more of the turquoise in, you get this nice blue here too. So these two colors make really nice mixes together for different blue and violet tones. And then the fifth color I'll be looking at is Cadmium Red Light Hue, which
So the next color I mix Phthalo Turquoise with is Cadmium Red Light Hue, which is a 3-pigment mixture as a non-toxic alternative to the cadmiums. And cadmium reds are made with PR108. And from these mixes, we get these nice gray or neutralized hues. And this was something I was curious because red and turquoise are complementary on the color wheel. So if you would like to neutralize a red, I would recommend using Phthalo Turquoise.
close to complementary. And it looks like we got so yeah, and since red and cyan are complementary, it makes it seems pretty it doesn't seem weird that we got gray tones from mixing these two colors together. And now finally, I will be looking at yellow ochre.
So
which is
the last
made
color
with
I wanted to mix with is yellow ochre, which is made with PY43. I forgot to swatch before mixing, so we'll see the mixes first. And compared to the lemon yellow, we can see that the mixtures are more dull and neutralized. And this is because yellow ochre is a neutralized yellow color. And I think these mixtures can be pretty useful for landscapes, as a lot of the greens in landscapes can be pretty dull. So having that bright Hansa yellow mixture might not be the best choice initially. And instead it'd be better to use a yellow ochre.
And I forgot to swatch the yellow ochre earlier, so I'll be doing that right now. So I'll move this back just so all the mixes
So here are the final mixes with Phthalo Turquoise. I feel like this would make a great cyan or turquoise on a palette, as it mixes nice greens, violets, purples, and it also neutralizes reds pretty well.
And then with yellow ochre we have more muted green tones that can be nice for landscapes and that.
So before I finish, I'd like to show you my Phthalo Turquoise swatch one more time. I'm curious to hear what your opinion is on this color. I think it is a nice, beautiful turquoise or cyan and great for mixing. And I hope you found this video helpful. And next time I'll go over the cobalt teal pigment.